Hi everyone, my name is Priyanka and welcome to my vlog. Today I'm going to teach you how to practice detachment from people and outcomes. Now, if you are somebody who's always fearing this life, who's always positioning themselves in the future, like you think about the future all the time and you keep telling yourself, oh, you know what, my future is not going to be that great if I don't pay attention to the people in my life and I don't pay attention to my goals, and you're always focused on your goals, but yet you feel as if you've not really received that kind of love from people around you, and also that people don't match up to your expectations. If you're facing that, also if you feel like you're doing so much in life and yet you're not reaching to your goals, and somehow those goals always keep on disappearing, you keep on facing failure, one failure after the other, then you've come to the right vlog, because I'll teach you ways in which you can overcome that sadness that follows the attachment you have towards goals and people in your life. So if you want to do better in life, you have to start practicing detachment. Now, what is this detachment word? Because people keep on throwing this word here and there and keep telling, oh, you have to be detached to people, you have to be detached to outcomes, and you have to practice this emotional unavailability in your life. All of these things you are going to hear when you listen to people talking about detachment. But I'm going to break it down in a very simple form to you so that you can learn to do well in life. And I'll tell you why you need attachment first of all in this life, because the reason might actually shock you. You'll think, oh, you know what, I've heard about this detachment theory. I've heard, you're not supposed to attach yourself to goals. Even Bhagavad Gita says that, you should only just pay attention to the journey and not pay attention to the outcome. And then people have told me about, if I'm attached to somebody for too long and they leave me, then I'll feel bad about life, and that is why I must practice detachment. So sometimes people take this word detachment so seriously that they don't attach themselves to goals and to people, and then there's a disbalance. So you have to balance everything out in your life and balance it in such a way that it doesn't give you stress. See, the idea of living this life is that we don't induce stress in our life. Okay, outside circumstances we can't control, like where the world is heading right now. If you just open social media or news channels, everyone is just showcasing such disturbing visuals. You will get stressed out and you will get distressed looking at all of the news that's coming to you, and you'll probably think that tomorrow the world is going to end, and what is the use of all of these things? But see, you cannot change the outside world, but you can at least try and operate from a level of stable mindset, because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that you can do in your life, and that is stabilize your mindset, reduce that stress that comes from thinking, overthinking. And I'll tell you why this attachment thing is not working in your life, because whenever we attach ourselves to people and to outcomes, we have a lot of expectations, and those expectations are not in our control. So if I'm expecting somebody to showcase their love and affection towards me, so I'm doing this much in my life, my partner should at least give me that kind of support, then what's going to happen is that tomorrow, if my partner is not taking care of me while I'm sick, or if my partner is not helping me pick up a plate and keep it in the kitchen, or if my partner is not helping me financially, I'll feel stressed out. And all of these expectations, actually we have these silly expectations sometimes in life, like, okay, Valentine's Day is coming, so I want my partner to gift me roses. But probably their love language is not gifting you a rose. Their love language is waking up and making that breakfast for you, or washing those dirty dishes in the sink. But for you, you'll not notice it because everything is so glamorized. So you look at the world and you'll wake up to these beautiful Instagram stories that are so curated, and these YouTube videos that are so curated. And you look at these things and you will say to yourself, oh, you know what? Everybody's showcasing this kind of life. So I also want it. I want my partner to showcase that kind of love, those gestures to me, that, I should wake up with roses and breakfast in bed sometimes, and I want my children to appreciate me on Mother's Day. They should make me a card. And Actually, I've noticed that sometimes people force their children to make mother's card for them on Mother's Day. Now, small children will not make that card for you because they'll be like, okay, I have to sit down, I have to do this now, I have to make a card. Like, if I ask my son that please make a mother's card for me on Mother's Day, he'll never do it. But if I simply showcase my love to him every day, if I, you know, be detached to that expectation that oh my son has to give me so many things in return, he has to take care of me, he has to showcase this appreciation towards me, that's not going to happen. But if I'm detached to all of these things and I'm just showcasing my love to him, one day he'll just come to me with a drawing where he's written I love mom, and that's more than enough for me. But the problem is that we are always having so many expectations, especially from people in our life. And let me come to the goals part later. I think the saddest and most disappointing thing in life is when people in your life don't appreciate you, and you have so many expectations from people around you. You want people to appreciate you, and then you end up feeling so sad. And I was in your shoes, don't worry. um, Before I got married, I had this kind of expectation from myself and from my friends and everybody around me that everything should be perfect and everything should be in a way that gives me the reason to feel appreciated. But then I went through that spiritual process of awakening. I went through that awakening and then I realized, oh, all of these things don't matter actually. But yes, if you've not gone through that and you are still in that phase where you were expecting so many things in your life, then yes, you're going through lots of disappointments and you're feeling sadness and depression that you have actually created in your life. Let me tell you, point blank, it might trigger a lot of people. It might make you feel even angry at me, irritated at me. And very first thing that you need to do is you need to understand that whatever expectations that you're having from people, you're always setting the bar too high. And you don't do that to yourself. If I tell you that, okay, you have to wake up every day and be this individual that you're expecting your partner to be, you'll not be able to do that. Let me be very clear. It will be very difficult for you to maintain that kind of expectation that you have from your partner. If you're able to do that every day, then good for you. And you'll probably see some changes in your partner because they'll be like, okay, this person is taking such a good care of me. I have to also now pull up my socks and do the same, reciprocate the same. But usually it doesn't happen because we are all human beings. We get tired in life. We have so many things to deal with. So we cannot stay stable in the way in which we're having those kind of expectations and live up to those expectations ourselves. If you are able to live up to those expectations, then you'll probably not even have expectations from people around you. Let me tell you, that is a simple truth. In a way, life is very much easy if you want to make it easy. But the problem is we're always complicating our life. We're always telling ourselves, oh, this is the thing that I want in my life. I must have it. So any special occasion, my partner should behave a certain way with me. And we don't communicate well with our partners, or we don't communicate well with our parents. And then, there's a lot of fighting because there's a lot of miscommunication, misrepresentation of ideas. And because of that, we then end up feeling disappointed, not in just ourselves, but in others. And we also feel disappointed that, why did I have this kind of expectation from somebody in my life? They are not going to ever give me that kind of love. They'll never reciprocate that kind of love back at me. And then we go on and deduce everything. From that point onwards, when you started feeling that disappointment settling into your mind, you will now look into things with so much of angst, and you look at things with a lot of negative perspective. You'll analyze every step and action that your partner is taking. So you'll analyze everything that they're doing, and you'll end up berating yourself and berating your partner. And then this feedback loop that you started in your life is going to multiply, and then there'll be lots of fights, and there'll be lots and lots of miscommunication, and suddenly those expectations will uh, turn into uh, sour conversations. You'll not even have conversations with your partners or with your parents or with your children. Say to yourself, oh, you know what, I am always the one who's doing so much for everybody, and then I'm not getting that kind of appreciation and efforts back, and I'm wasting my time. And sometimes, people have such a low threshold for patience that they actually walk away from relationships, and they don't want to even adjust to the idea that probably it's us who are having too many expectations from people, and maybe the other person cannot match up to our expectations. That idea doesn't even enter our mind, because everybody is at fault, we are always right. That is the attitude we have. Now if we want to improve our life, we want good people to stay in our life, and sometimes, we actually come across good people, but we are unable to retain them in our life because we're always having these high expectations. Expectation bar very high. People will not be able to meet it. And then what is going to happen? Everybody's going to say to you, oh, you know what? You are always so perfect in life. You're a perfectionist. We cannot match up to you. In fact, people are going to now stay away from you. They will avoid you at all costs, because this is what happens to you. That, you put on yourself on a pedestal, and then you want everybody to be on that pedestal too. But not everybody has the focus, energy, and enthusiasm to match up to your expectations. And why should anybody match up to anyone's expectations? The bar should be set high for your own self. Work on yourself, improve your own self. Everything will fall into place. So, here, detachment is going to actually help you understand that life should be lived in an easy way. Always attaching yourselves to goals, and of course, the problem with goals is that you have so many goals in your mind, and then those goals don't materialize in the real world. Because as you have expectations from people, you also have expectations from all these goals that you have in your life. I was just like you, had too many goals, was not able to match up to those expectations, and then faced a few failures in life and didn't like it, and then understood that it's not a good thing to have so many goals. You should only match up to those goals that match up to your talent and your skills. Also, you should always focus where you want to put most of your energy in. If you have too many things on your plate, you will not be able to do well in life. Also, sometimes those goals that you have created by the people around you, so reaching them is also very difficult. Sustaining those goals is very difficult. So the idea of detachment is that you actually pay attention to your plans, but don't pay attention to the outcomes. It's a very difficult task, because every time try and pay attention to your plans, you automatically move forward and think about the outcome. So if I want 1 million subscribers on YouTube, I'll be waking up every day and checking my YouTube studio morning, evening, night, and working very hard and trying to make it happen. But then the problem is that I'll probably burn out in 3 or 6 months. I'll be making excuses for it in my personal life. Something will have to take a back seat. Either it'll be my child, or it'll be my relationship, or it'll be my health, physical and mental health. I'll not probably eat food on time. I'll quit sleeping on time. I'll not exercise. Somewhere I have to give up something to reach that kind of expectation that I have from myself. And if I don't reach that expectation, I'll probably end up getting a lot of anxiety. How do I see myself in the next 1 year will determine how that next year will pan out. Same for you guys. We're all human beings, right? We can only work for so much and for so long. And if it is not sustainable, if you're always attached to the outcomes and those outcomes are not in our favor, we will see and feel the brunt of things like anything. In fact, if you're a perfectionist like I was earlier in my life, now I don't try to be, you will in fact burn out like anything, because you want to always be perfect at home, outside, everywhere. Everything has to look perfect. And then suddenly one day, that perfect world is not what you want. You want an imperfect world where you can take a breather, you can sit and relax with your feet up on the sofa, and that's what you want in life. You want to relax in life, you want to feel easy in life, and yet reach to your goals. So, detachment is going to help you reach that mental level. Right now, the problem is that our mindset is so screwed up by the world that we're living in. Everything has to be perfect. Everything is curated on social media. In fact, back home, everybody's going to tell you, oh, do this in life, reach this level, just make it happen. And then when you open up that mind and check your thoughts. Either you're feeling sluggish, you're feeling like a zombie, you have no interest in life, you simply sink into your sofas and just keep on watching these movies and shows. You have no interest in reading, you don't want to get out of that bed and go for a walk, you cannot take care of your kids, you cannot take care of your mental health, your physical health. Something feels off. That's a cue that you have too many expectations from yourself and from people around you. That's happening because you are not detaching yourself from this world. You're attached to everything. My life should look like this. My life should mirror whatever life everybody is living in or around me or on social media. I should mirror that. And anyone who's on social media who's portraying that kind of life, daily vloggers and people who are making all of these beautiful curated lives, when you actually go and see their life in reality, most of these people are suffering in life because that is not the truth. You can see it for yourself when you're living that life that you're living right now and you're not on camera and you don't have that curated life. How does your life feel? It's realistic, right? And what everything around you that is being shown to you, that is being curated for you, is unrealistic. It is not something that you can create every day and sustain it. But that's what you want, and then you attach to these outcomes. My partner should look like this, my partner should behave like, house should look like this, my personal income should look like this, everything should look perfect in life. And that is why I'm attaching myself to every outcome, and I'm attaching myself to all of these huge humongous goals, and I want to be there, I want to be it all. I want to show people how happy I am. So I'm going to post all of these beautiful selfies when I go out, and then I'm smiling, but when I come back home, I'm feeling like a zombie. I cannot associate myself with the person that I am portraying to the world. This is what is happening to a lot of people. People are feeling detached with themselves. That is the problem. You should not detach yourself with your own self, your inner self. If you're feeling detached, like you cannot associate with your own self, you don't know who you are, you're feeling lost, you're just surviving through this life. If that word pops into your mind that I'm just surviving this life is terrible, it's a load, then it's a wake up call. Because if you don't wake up right now, you'll end up destroying this life of yours because of the choices you'll make from that thought process alone. So, what you have to do is you have to create plans that are small in nature, that you can achieve. If you have too mighty big plans or like an unrealistic plan, like I know a few people in my life who have such unrealistic plans and they're failing one attempt after the other, and they're not realizing that it's a difficult ask for them. Like, that is not the path they should be taking, but because the world around them is forcing them to, sit in these exams or take that career path which is not suitable for them, doesn't make them feel happy and doesn't make them feel motivated enough, they'll keep on wasting these years and then nothing will come out of it because of that attachment to the outside world and detachment to self. When you detach to the outside world and attach yourself to your inner self, everything will pan out. Everything will step into place. You will no longer feel the need to make anybody meet up to your expectations. People will meet your expectations because right now, the way you're behaving is that, I have so many expectations from people and from myself, and then I want everything to work out for me. And then you come to a behavior that is all about you stepping up for your own self. When you start behaving like that, and by behaving, I don't mean that you have to be rude or you have to be obnoxious. By behavior, I mean your everyday actions and plans. Every day you will wake up with only one thought, and that is that my true self only wants to do this today. So I'm only going to take actions that are going to sustain me throughout the day. I don't want to feel exhausted. I don't want to feel fragile. I don't want to feel numb. I don't want to feel like I'm losing my mind. I want to live my life with a stable mind. That mind that gives me joy and happiness and doesn't react to the outside world, reasons with itself, makes decisions that are going to sustain my life in long term. These are the kind of things that you want. And that can only happen when you start attaching yourself to your inner self. And pay attention to you, or somebody didn't meet up your expectations, or you failed in your path, you couldn't reach up to your goals. That thought is going to overwhelm you. It's going to repeat itself in your mind, and constantly you'll think about it. Okay, now I have failed in life, or this person has failed me, this is happening to me. And now suddenly your focus has shifted from I want these things to these things are not working out for me. Then when you start feeling lack in life, you start feeling miserable in life, you lose that hope. It goes away slowly, it chips away slowly from you. So when that hope chips away from you slowly, you know what's going to happen to you? You're going to lose your self worth. It happens slowly. It's not going to happen in a day, but slowly you lose your self worth. And that is the worst thing in life, when you lose your self worth. Because now, when you start losing that self worth, you know what's going to happen? You're going to deny yourself opportunities of meeting good people, of sustaining good people in your life, and also opportunities that are going to make you live a good life financially, mentally, physically. And then slowly you're going to find yourself slipping away into darkness, and the darkness is overwhelming it. There is no way out of it unless you start understanding that there is an authentic self within you, and you need to attach yourself to that authentic self. I know it's a difficult ask, and I'm going to ask everybody in all of my videos because that's the only way I know that it has worked out for me, and I know it has worked out for everybody who has ever tried improving their self worth and improving their mind and that thought process that is bothering them, and that is surrendering to the divine, sitting in meditation. Because when you sit in meditation, when you bring that focus onto your authentic self, what happens is that you start detaching yourself from the outside world. All of those expectations will not matter to you, even from yourself. Nothing matters to you except your devotion to the divine and your devotion to your inner self, which is a connection to the divinity within you. All of that focus that you were putting outside will just vanish. That focus is going to now become an internal focus. And when that happens, everything in your life will fall into place. It's something that a lot of people will not understand what I'm trying to say right now, and I know it. But there will be people who have practiced it, who have experienced a bit of it when they become devotional, when they become, spiritual, when they go into these meditative states. They've experienced that suddenly life changes and new opportunities and new paths open up. You know why they're opening up? Because you are no longer attached to the outcomes and to people and to expectations. Because now you are detached, you're only attached to the divinity within you. And because you're attached to the divinity within you, you raise your vibrational frequency. I know this is hoo ha ha for a lot of people, but actually it works. That is a truth that a lot of people don't get in life, because we're so misguided by these foreign concepts that everything is only about hard work and putting yourself out there. And no one talks about mental exhaustion, no one talks about overthinking, no one talks about these dark thoughts, no one talks about how stressful this life is. All of these thoughts that are bothering you will go away, because suddenly you are no longer attached to these thoughts. One thing you need to understand, that attachment teaches you lack in life. Whenever you're attached to things and outcomes and people in your life who do not meet up to your expectations, you'll always be in that mindset of lack, because things will never go your way the way you are thinking right now. Because life is not like that. That we think, okay, we want this and then it's going to go away. You are detached, you start focusing on abundance, because suddenly you are no longer focusing on the outcomes. You are no longer focusing on what's not working out for you, and you're only focusing on what you have and how you can make it work. And that is how you can attract anything in this life of yours. I know, no matter how smart we think we are. Life is always going to teach us a lesson, and it is our duty to learn these lessons and grow in life. So, with that, I'm going to end my vlog. I hope you like my vlog. If you love my vlog, do like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.